Hello, everyone. It's me again. I'm redoing episode 7. So today I want to talk to you about welcome to episode 7 of Sharing My Life. And I really believe that sex needs to be an open conversation in our homes and for our kids right from the age of around 8. And what I mean by that is not that we need to sit down and have serious conversations around sex with them, but rather create a safe environment for them so that they can come and talk to us about it if they need to. You know, when my kids were growing up, I remember allowing them to watch movies that were of mature audience classification. And when we used to watch them, if there was a sex scene that actually was happening, I remember them, because of social conditioning and what society has kind of taught us, they would pull their covers up on their head and they would say, "Mom, that's disgusting." And I would say, well, no, it's not really. It's actually quite beautiful. It's what two people do when they love and care about each other, and it's the highest level of intimacy between two people when they care and love each other. And in fact, when there was a violent scene, I would actually not allow them to watch that. So my kids grew up with this very open conversation in the house around sex. And one time my husband and I were in our bedroom. And this is a bit funny. Daniel, my older boy, he was about 8 or 10. He comes and the door was locked. It was during the daytime, or it was just shut, I think. And he comes and he knocks on the door and he didn't hear either of us respond. And he says, "Mom, Dad, are you sexing?" Which was quite hilarious. And we just cacked up laughing, and even if there was any idea of us wanting to do anything, it was out of the window. But that's how okay they were to talk about it in our home. My daughter Alicia, when she was, and by the way, I've got permission to share a story about her, which is quite beautiful. When she was about 10 or 12, she had sex education classes in her school, and we came home after her sex education class, and she was sitting in Australia. It's around 10 or 12. And she was sitting on my lap, and I wanted to complete the conversation with her. And I said to her, "Nuni, is there anything else you want to know?" And she says, "No, Mom, I'm fine." And I remember this so vividly. She was sitting on my lap, and she had this green uniform on with this little tie. And I said to her, "Nuni, and you'll always, you'll always be my little princess." I was finishing off the conversation. She said, "And Mommy, you will always be my queen." She had these big brown eyes, and I just remember that moment. It was so beautiful for her to say that to me. And I created this context with them as well, all three of them, after their sex education class, that the first time you actually sleep with somebody, make sure you have some kind of, feelings for them, like some kind of emotional connection with them, rather than just have it be a physical kind of interaction. Because it would totally, if you have an emotional connection with somebody when the first time you sleep with them, you'll have a much better experience of sex, of intimacy. And when my daughter was 19, and I have got permission to share this, when she was 19, she came to me and I was cooking, I remember, in the kitchen, and she said, "Mom, I've got to tell you something." And she sat me down on this couch, but it was another house. And she looked at me, and I knew there was something she wanted to tell me that was important. And she said to me, "Mommy, I'm not a virgin anymore." And then I was like, I didn't know what to say, but tears welled up in my eyes, and I'm holding on to her, and we're hugging each other, and we're crying, and we're laughing. And it was so precious, so precious. And of course, today she's married to that same man. And he's the most beautiful, beautiful, couldn't have asked for a better son-in-law. But yeah, basically we had such an open environment in our house around sex. And before I finish, and today, by the way, she's a queen in her own right, because she's a mother today of this little boy, and I'm sure, absolutely sure, she'll carry on that same, openness around sex in our world, in her family. Sorry. I have to tell you this fun story as well with my 16-year-old Damien, who's 6 feet tall. I come home the other day from outside the house, and I go to his bedroom door, and the door was locked. So I knock on it and I say, "Damien?" And he says, "Yes, Mom." And I open the door and I walk in, and there he is, sitting on his bed, lying down on his bed, but propped up against the wall. A girl on this side, another girl on this side. And my look on my face must have said volumes to him. And he looked at me and he says, "Mom, they're just my friends." And I said, yes, I got that. And I said, "I'm leaving this door open, okay?" And there was this 3 smiles on all 3 of their faces, and they knew exactly what I was talking about. So it was quite funny. But basically, that's my message for today, is to encourage people to just, have open conversations with their kids from the time they're really young, and create this context, and a context of a healthy context around sex. Because if we don't, then, social media is going to get to them, or technology is going to get to them. Today, at the age of 2, they know how to manage a phone and, work it out. I remember Damien, when he was like 8 or 9, he had his own YouTube channel, and he used to record unpacking his little things, Bakugans or whatever he used to play with. But yeah, it's so important. So that's my sharing for today. And next week, I'm going to be sharing a really beautiful episode, and it's about how I got my relationship back with my 18-year-old son, Daniel. And I look forward to being with you again next week. So thank you for listening. And let's see who's over here. Hey, Muni, how are you? And Mari Lou, and Megan, and Adrian, hello. Yeah, really lovely. I'm reshooting this video, so I'm going to delete the first one because I hadn't popped in a bit of information over there, and I wanted to be responsible for how I share. So thank you for listening, and see you next week.